everyone, it's Nick Dease, Film and Humanities Librarian at the Boatwright Library. Today we're going to think about intellectual authority and discuss strategies for locating authoritative information resources. Authority is a complex concept with which philosophers, political scientists, and sociologists have wrestled for centuries. One of the reasons the concept has proven so elusive is that we use it in so many ways. For example, one can speak with authority or be an authority on a subject. Laws carry authority, University of Richmond administrators have authority, and so on. What, if anything, do these examples have in common? Well, the speaker, the laws, and the administrators all command respect and influence others' perceptions and actions. By these measures, authority is a social quality. It's not inherent in the speaker or the law or administrator, but instead is constructed and bestowed. In other words, a thing is authoritative to the extent people agree that it is authoritative. Now, is authority binary? Is a thing either authoritative or not authoritative? In most cases, no. Authority is not binary, but instead resembles a spectrum. A speaker, a law, or a college administrator can, in other words, have more or less authority. Take, for example, at one end of the authority spectrum sits the Bill of Rights, which commands almost universal respect and exerts considerable social and legal influence, and at the other end are laws like speed limits, parking ordinances, and underage drinking prohibitions. All laws, in other words, are authoritative, but not all laws carry the same degree of authority. This understanding of authority as a variable quality that commands respect and exerts influence should help us grasp the idea of intellectual authority. If we refer to a book or an article or a web page as an authoritative source, then we suggest that people who care about the source's subject tend to rely on that work, defer to it, and cite it in their own scholarship. We also suggest that the source has impacted how people think about that subject. So, what does an authoritative information resource look like? Where does it live? And how can we find it? Authoritative sources tend to be created by those with expertise in their respective fields. Academic credentials, institutional affiliations, and professional experience are all reliable indicators of expertise. An authoritative information resource will almost always name its author or authors and identify their institutional affiliations. Especially academic works tend to be created by writers who hold both advanced degrees and positions at renowned research institutions. Though there are some exceptions, you should exercise caution with works written by authors with few or no credentials, like those that appear on Reddit and personal blogs. And you should exercise extreme caution with sources like Wikipedia that do not credit an author, and with sources that have no author at all, like generative AI applications. If you are in doubt about an author's identity, feel free to Google them and look over their CV, which is like an academic resume that provides the author's credentials, institutional affiliations, and publications, among other information. Regardless of a writer's reputation, the peer review process helps reinforce authority. For a deeper dive on this process and its significance, please watch our peer-reviewed sources video tutorial. Suffice to say here, a work that has been peer-reviewed generally provides more reliable and authoritative information. Another way to gauge a work's authority is by its publisher. Peer-reviewed and other high-quality works of scholarship tend to be published in academic journals. And while peer-reviewed works generally carry greater authority than works that have not been peer-reviewed, it is important to remember that, just like the laws we discussed earlier, there is a hierarchy of authority even among peer-reviewed scholarship. In short, some academic journals are more widely read, have more prestige, and exert greater influence on prevailing thought than others. Scholars aspire to publish their work in these so-called top-tier journals. Each discipline, even each sub-discipline, has its own set of top-tier journals. As a rule, work published in these highly ranked journals is more authoritative than work published in journals that are not as highly ranked. To identify which journals comprise the top tier in your field, you may browse Schemago or consult your professor or subject librarian. Publishers matter even in fields where it is more common for scholars to publish books than journal articles. While books are not subject to the same peer review process as articles, they do undergo extensive review prior to publication. This is particularly true for academic presses. Books published by academic presses generally carry greater authority than books published by non-academic presses. Pay attention to the name of the publisher. For example, Princeton University Press, Oxford University Press, Northwestern University Press, etc. So where do these authoritative sources live, and how do we get our hands on them? Books are easy enough. Print copies live on our library's shelves, and digital copies live online. Both print and digital books are cataloged in UR's OneSearch, and each catalog entry provides author and publisher names, so you're able to gauge the book's authority before accessing it. While they were once printed in ink and distributed like magazines, scholarly journals generally now live online and frequently behind paywalls. Like with books, UR's OneSearch is a fine place to begin searching for academic articles. By restricting our search results to only those that are peer-reviewed and published in more highly ranked journals, OneSearch enables some control over the authoritativeness of the articles that we see. Meanwhile, article databases like Academic Search Complete, JSTOR, and many others provide even greater control over your search parameters and results, and often make it easier to find what you're looking for. There are some exceptions to the rule of thumb presented here. Perhaps the most significant concerns gray literature, or information resources that lie somewhere between peer-reviewed scholarship and popular literature. Examples of authoritative gray literature are Policy Institute and think tank publications, academic preprints and manuscripts, and governmental and intergovernmental reports. Please consult your professor or subject librarian for more specific guidance on employing gray literature in your scholarship. Finally, just as important as knowing where to look for authoritative information is knowing where not to look. As we discussed earlier, many authoritative works are hidden behind paywalls that Google cannot reach. In fact, a typical Google search only accesses about 5 to 10% of all content available online. That may be enough for general purposes, but it is rarely sufficient for academic research. Whenever possible, try to make use of otherwise restricted information resources to which the University of Richmond provides access. And that just about wraps up our authority tutorial. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to us at library.richmond.edu, and I'll see you next time.